Good morning, everyone. Today we are at Lafayette Campground, which is at the base of Franconia Notch, which is behind us. We are going to do the Lonesome Lake Trail today, which is about 2,700 feet. We are starting off at about 1,900 feet. And so we're going to walk up about 800 and then decide what we're going to do from there. But the Appalachian Trail joins at Lonesome Lake, so Margot and I are going to hike up again about 800 feet, and we'll show you some sights along the trail. Started the ascent up the Lonesome Lake Trail. This is a trail, actually, if you remember, Annette and I took this trail probably back in the early 90s, I guess. And it's a beautiful trail. I remember it being very difficult, so we'll see if it's the same. But it joins at the Lonesome Lake Hut, which is on the AT. And at that point, Margot and I are going to decide to maybe continue on to Kinsman. I believe it's North Kinsman or South Kinsman. I'm not quite sure. South Kinsman, probably. That's a 2-mile out and back. It's a total of 4. And then if we choose not to do that, we're going to kind of take a big left-hand turn and continue on the AT down the, I believe it's called the Cascade Brook Trail. I'll put a map in the video to show everybody. But again, this is our second day. It's, I think, June the 17th, day after Father's Day. And I'm just trying to, again, share a little bit of our journey and work on a little bit of film editing as well, and learning how to use this camera. So we'll show you more of the trail. Right now it's early morning. It's about 7 o'clock. That was the first 200 feet. I remember this trail not being so well manicured. I think over the last 30 years, they have put in more water bars. They have put in more stone steps. And this is a very well laid out path. I just don't remember it being so gentle. And so far it's pretty gentle. Maybe I was completely surprised back 30 years ago. But at this point, the trail seems pretty manageable. And so, but this is kind of what we're walking through. It's kind of a combination of a little bit of rock steps, not technical at all. And actually the rocks are kind of a relief. But you'll notice how they've placed stone steps along the trail, especially, for example, this switchback coming up. Somebody has designed a beautiful stone staircase, which helps out quite a bit as you ascend these mountains. The sun is starting to peek through. It's about 7:30 now, so we've been on trail about a half hour. And Margot's doing great. She's right behind me. And we'll probably take our first break up here in just a little bit. Eat a little snack, get some energy, and show you more sights along the trail here. I'll show you over side of the hill. And that's where we were down there just a little bit ago. Alright, continuing climb up to Lonesome Lake. Approaching 2,600 feet. I think there's a reason people who film don't film going uphill. Can't catch your breath. So So far, again, the trail's been absolutely beautiful. This is an example of a water bar. If I can show you, the water coming down the trail gets diverted here and goes on down the mountain. You can see, instead of making the trail all saturated with water. And that's what I remember back from the 90s. When Annette and I walked up here and hiked, the trail was so wet. And I think that's what made it so difficult to walk. But I guess, again, during the last 30 years, with all the volunteer trail maintenance people, they have volunteered their time to do things like this. Again, to move, think about the effort it takes to move and stack all these boulders and all these rocks in place just to make this section a little bit more tolerable and manageable for average hikers like me who need to lose 20 or 30 pounds. So thank you to all the trail maintenance people for all the work that you guys did. I know my wife Annette does a lot of work back in Ohio at the Arc of Appalachia, doing a lot of interpretive activities for different groups and volunteer activities. And she has often conveyed to me their need for trail maintenance people as they continue to buy up land to preserve it for hikers in that central Ohio area, a little bit south of where Grandma Gatewood was from. All right, so we're getting there. 2,700 feet coming up, but I don't know if this gives you a perspective or not, but this is kind of where we're going. Right up that way. So I guess I could talk to you a little bit about what helps propel me up the hill, what helps get Margot up the hill as well. So today for breakfast is what I call my chocolate go-go juice. It is basically since I have a cooler down at the camp, typically you'd have powdered milk. A combination of powdered milk, Carnation instant breakfast, high protein powder, as well as some water, boiled water. And then you throw in about 4 or 5 sticks of Folgers coffee. Mix all that up, and that usually gets me kind of up a hill pretty quickly. Or not quickly, but it just gets me up the hill without running out of a lot of energy. Then I'll drink, then I'll start switching over to water, and then later on in the day, electrolytes. So I'll throw in a couple of Gatorade Zeros, and hopefully gain a little bit of energy that way as well. So just thought I'd share that with you. And again, we're about 150 feet away. the first view of Lonesome Lake. So we arrived at Lonesome Lake Hut, and that I thought I'd show you what some of the bunkhouses look like in case you ever wanted to come up here. Talked to Jonathan, he said it was okay to kind of go in and film one. So this is the typical one that sleeps, for example, this one sleeps 4 people. I don't know if you can see that with the lighting, but typically some hooks and 2 sets of bunk beds. A little bit of gear storage up above, and there's several of these spread throughout. I think there on the end there's a 8-person or a 7-person bunkhouse. But Yeah, kind of nice. Your stay here comes with a very large portion for supper, served at 6 o'clock, and also breakfast at 7 o'clock. All right, Jonathan, thanks for the overview.
Thank you.
Appreciate everything, and maybe I can get my wife back up this way.
Yeah, no, that would be fun. And it is very much, you can go from here all the way to the easternmost hut, Carter, along the Appalachian Trail. And you can
Beautiful.
Stay at all.
Out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
All right, good luck. Take care. Be safe.
You too.
All right, here's Margot filling up on water, and then we're going to continue on to I believe we're going to go to the Cascade Basin Trail, which is to the left. It also says the Lonesome Lake Trail as far as the Appalachian Trail goes. We're going to go on the Appalachian Trail, but we're going to head down and do the Cascade Trail, which links down here. So we'll catch up to everyone here in just a little bit. But again, this kind of gives you a little bit of the outside of typical hut. And again, these huts are able to be reserved. You can actually hike from hut to hut. And I think Jonathan said most nights are about $130. He says, but that varies depending on the time of the year and the time of the week, actually. So you can actually string together an entire hike and reserve everything in advance, and then simply hike from hut to hut. So that is an option for you in case you want to kind of slack pack and not carry that much gear. Jonathan said that in the summertime, when they're getting upwards of, I believe, 30 or 40 people here a night, that there's a crew of 5. And that trail that we just hiked up, they have to do that 2 or 3 times a week with 40 to 60 pound packs. So here comes some doggos. Off leash.
Gunner, Rosie, come.
All right, so it's about 9:45. A little bit of a failure to launch here. We had to kind of resupply with some water. We are now leaving Lonesome Lake Hut, and Margot and I have decided to do the Cascade Basin Trail, I believe it is. And so I think we got about a 2.5 mile descent down to the road, if you will. I don't think it's, and we'll then be able to actually cross over and start up the Lonesome Lake. I'm sorry, the Hunt Trail. No, the Liberty Spring Trail. And we'll hike up that maybe for a mile or so, and we're certainly not going to make it up to Franconia Notch, but and to Franconia Ridge, but we kind of wanted to hike a little bit further, and then we can return and then hike the Basin Trail back to the campground. Mosquitoes are coming in. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at. And it's been an absolutely beautiful visit here for the last half hour or so. So I'll just turn this around one more time to show you one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. And oh my gosh, it's changed just here in the last half hour. But look at this view. So we're on the way down from Lonesome Lake Hut, and you can kind of see what we've been going down. It's just this nice meandering trail, but we have to kind of pick through the rocks a little bit, but it's certainly not like the steep ascent that we had on the way up. And I think this is about a 2.8 mile descent down to the what's called the basin. I think we'll come out somewhere between, north of us will be the basin, south of us will be the flume, and at that point I think we're going to maybe eat lunch because it's about 10:30 now, and we've left Lonesome Lake at about 9:45, so we've been kind of picking our way through these rocks for about 45 minutes. Beautiful, beautiful trail. More natural than the way up. And I think Margot made a good point. I think the reason the Lonesome Lake Trail was so well maintained is because when I was talking to Jonathan, he said again that, and Margot made the point that, you know, they have to haul all that food up to Lonesome Lake because, you know, there's no airdrops, there's no helicopters coming in. So, you know, 4 or 5 of them, depending on how busy it is, will you know, hike down to Liberty Spring Lafayette Campground where we're staying, and they'll don 40 to 60 pound packs, he said, and have to hike up the Lonesome Lake Trail. So maybe one of the reasons it's so well maintained is to help those folks out and make their jobs a little bit easier. This particular trail we're on, again, is a much more gradual descent. A little bit harder on your knees, and you kind of got to pick your way through the rocks. But it's pretty. You can see that kind of we're walking right next to this stream for a while, and it seemed to divert a little bit to the right. It's just a beautiful forest on both sides that kind of get to stop and look at, and the sun's now starting to peek through a little bit. So again, you kind of see where we came from all the way up there, and now we're kind of picking our way down to the base, and I think we've got about another 1.5 or 2 miles to go. So we'll catch up with you here in a little bit. followed that stream all the way down from Lonesome Lake. And now we've crossed over and we're still following the Cascade Brook trail. I think we have about another 1.5 miles, but the trail has changed. No longer are we in a creek bed. Now we're in a nice leafy forest. So at the bottom of the trail here, we will cross over the bike path. We'll be down at the pretty much the bottom of the mountain, and be able to kind of evaluate, probably eat lunch there, and determine if we're going to walk up Liberty Spring Trail, which continues on the AT, or if we'll maybe go south. I'm not sure. Somewhere we'll be between the basin and the flume, and we'll kind of reevaluate our plans for the day. It's a beautiful day. It's probably only, I don't know, upper 60s, maybe low 70s. Much easier walk down, longer, but again, the descent has been nice and gradual, and it's been absolutely beautiful hiking through this beautiful wilderness. So give you some more views along the path. How's the trail so far? So going up, Margot and I both agreed that a quick ascent is actually easier than these long descents. On the quick ascent, you can kind of stop and catch your breath. These long, slow descents, while they're not taxing on your lungs, they are taxing on your knees and legs. So yeah, so that gives us some information as we start to choose some of the other trails that we're going to hike over the next month. But I'm going to turn the camera around and show you what we're kind of walking upon here. Again, we're on the Appalachian Trail, getting ready to get down to Route 3. So we just emerged from the Cascade Brook Trail, and you can hear the sounds of civilization because Route 3 passes, the trail passes right underneath Route 3. And you can see that's Franconia Ridge there, I believe. So the trail actually goes underneath the bridge, and I believe we'll make a decision after that. So here we are. We have decided that the remainder of our afternoon is going to be finding a place to eat lunch. So I think we're going to walk north on the bike trail to the basin and grab some lunch. And from there, I think we have about another 1.5 or 1.9 back to Lafayette. And since it's such a pretty day, we are going to grab our bikes and maybe go north all the way up to, I think it's called Echo Lake or Profile. That's back in the 80s. Old Man of the Mountain, Profile Lake, I think is what it was called. But I believe in 2000 it collapsed. The granite structure collapsed, and somebody told me they have a hologram up there now. So I was hoping Margot could see that. But we're going to kind of take it easy the remainder of the day and just bike. All right, so we just finished lunch at the foot of the basin where Route 3 comes across, and now we're going to hike back to the Lafayette campground via the bike trail. But we came across the entrance to the basin. So I think Margot and I are going to walk up here, and I'll show you the sights along the way.